Omagyantimirandasya Dhyananjana Shalakaya Chaksurum Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhate Girim Yad Kripatamaham Vande Paramanandamadavam He Guru Gyanada Dina Bandho Swanandadata Karunakasindo Vrindavana Sinhitavataram Prasidaradha Pranaya Pracharo. So nice meeting you again. And please accept my humble obeisances and heartfelt greetings to all who participate in this important event. Again, we shall discuss some topic of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a prime important source of information for us. This is like the supreme scripture for the Vaishnavas, and therefore we try to pay our respects concerning studies as well. There are many different ways how we can express our gratitude and our respect to a person or to a teachings, to a shastra, and one is to receive and then to repeat. So today we shall discuss the secondary creation. And as you know, the Bhagavatam, a part of the Purana literature, this is considered to be the fifth Veda, or the fifth and most actual source of information for spiritual seekers. And in order to understand ourselves better, we need to learn, we need to reflect on the influences coming to us. Actually, studies or a vision of the world or an answer to the questions of life, we can call it a paradigm, a way of approach, a way how you see the reality. So the Bhagavad Purana gives a very spiritual paradigm, a very spiritual way to see life, to see the creation, to see and to meet God. So this Puranic paradigm, this Puranic vision is based on certain little principles. This is an ancient way of explanation, Puranas, and it uses a very appropriate method to approach people. Because these days we are very weak in understanding, and therefore the Puranas always use a very appropriate manner to explain, and usually they explain through stories. They tell the truth in such a way that is easy to understand. The Puranic paradigm tells the truth in an easy way. What is the basic topic or the basic conflict in life? This is the clash of the devas, the demigods, and the asuras. So the forces of light and darkness, to put it very simple. And wrapped into this story, the Puranas will tell us the truth. And just imagine yourself how it happened. If we read the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam, then we are informed that the sages and yogis and saintly people of the day, they were coming together. And they selected one person as a speaker. So the method applied here is like question and answer. This is the way of spiritual inquiry. And they are sitting under the trees in the Naimisha Aranya, in the forest, and they discuss how is the word, what is the meaning of human existence, how to prepare to meet God, how to invite Him into our life. So it's like a kind of relaxed discussion. And the speaker will come up with a version, with explaining life as it is, explaining how to improve our spiritual standards. And therefore, it is very, very interesting, the picture that you had seen while the bhajan, the mantra sounded. And please check again and again that picture, because it's a classical topic describing the sages coming together, and Shukadev Goswami on the elevated seat as a speaker. And you see that most of the figures present, they are not finished. Some are finished, every detail is finished, like face, robes, but some of the persons are not accomplished. We might think that this picture is not finished, but I have a different feeling about this picture, because as it has the silhouette, that means an empty place. A place is reserved, but it's not occupied yet, not taken yet. So therefore, for me, this picture is like an open invitation. Please join. You also sit here. Come for this discussion. It's a very beautiful picture for me, telling me this everlasting invitation, so that we can also join. We can also sit there with the sages, with the yogis. So therefore I say, just imagine yourself meeting with other saintly persons, sitting under the shade of the trees on the bank of a holy river, and discuss divine topics. And actually, this is what we are trying to do right now. Maybe we are not sitting under the shades of the trees, we are not sitting on the bank of a river, but sitting in front of our computers. But nevertheless, the mood, the essence should be the same. Just come together and discuss spiritual topics. But the Srimad Bhagavatam is not only raising questions, but also trying to supply some answers. So solutions are also necessary. Not only the topics should be exposed, but solutions, answers should be also given. And the Bhagavatam teaches in two ways concerning the question and answer or the example section, because first of all, it gives bad examples and it brings good examples as well. Why mention the bad examples? In order to show the value of the better choice. And why does it show the good example? In order to follow. So what is the reality of humans? We shall return back to that question. The reality is that we are limited. We are bound by the material nature and the gunas, the illusion, the ignorance. So many factors have influence over us. That means we are limited in so many respects. But nevertheless, we belong to the perfect word. So illusion is just like a cloud. We need to remove the cloud, and then our vision will not be blocked. Then we shall come closer to the spiritual divine reality. So this is the purpose of showing a good example, because even if you are limited in so many ways today, by following a good example, you can come closer to your original identity. And also the Bhagavatam gives three main topics, three main themes, so to say. One is this sambandha, where do you belong? The second is abhideya, what to do. And the third is the prayojana, where we are going. So the first question is, what is the source of my existence? It's very, very important. Where do I come from? And the answer of the Bhagavatam for this question is a relationship. That humans, I mean, the living entities, they all belong to the source, to the ultimate source. They all belong to the Supreme Lord. So in one sense, in that ontological, philosophical sense, we are all living beings are Vaishnavas, belonging to Vishnu. Some have already realized something of this truth, others have not. And this is the only difference between the practitioners and the future practitioners. Because, you know, there are two types of living entities, two types of people. One is the devotee, and the second is the future devotee. So this should be our vision, because originally we all belong to the divine source. We are all divine sparks of Krishna's conscious fire. And our duty and our purpose in life is to return to this original source, to find a way back home, back to Godhead. So why Bhagavatam gives the good examples? In order to follow them. By following a good example, we can get rid of the limitations. And also we have learned from our masters that our very dear sacred divine scriptures are just like coming in a sequence. Let's say the Bhagavad Gita is like an elementary school book, textbook of divine science. Then the Bhagavatam is the like a university textbook. The Chaitanya Charitamritam is like a postgraduate study of divine science. And we have some more. Of course, the Goswamis have given even higher, even more intimate subjects. And but if we stick to the Gita and the Bhagavatam, if the Gita is practically about a war, about a fight between the two sides, the Pandavas and the Kauravas, then we can say that the Bhagavatam continues the story. And actually, if the Gita is a fight, then the Bhagavatam is a labyrinth. Why labyrinth? Because it's very long. The stories mentioned and the topics mentioned in the Bhagavatam are very widespread. Starting from the beginning of creation and covering these 10 main topics like the primary and the secondary creation, etc. We shall cover this during these meetings. So very many detailed information is there. And the labyrinth is like you enter from the outside. You come from the external world. You enter the labyrinth, you find in the middle, in the center, you find the key of victory. You have to face yourself, and you are enlightened, so to say, in the darkness. And then you have to find your way back to the external. So in the same way, the truth, the treasures of the Bhagavatam are hidden. We come from the material reality. There are so many topics, so many stories which are closer or more far, but related to spiritual importance. But these are the ways and the corners of this labyrinth. If we come to the essence, if we meet the most important topic and message of the Bhagavatam, then we are in the center point. That is the point of enlightenment. That is the point of spiritual victory over illusion. And then, well equipped with this realization, we can come back, we can return to the daily life of our existence, but now in a spiritual manner, as a spiritual person. And if you exit a labyrinth, you will be a different person. So therefore we can compare the Srimad Bhagavatam to a labyrinth. So many stories of the creation and the fight between the Devas and the Asuras and many other references, and the gem is hidden. The treasure is hidden inside. These are the Rasic topics which we shall also mention on time. So what is the point here? Come together, discuss spiritual topics, and try to come to the center point. Try to come to the essence. But first we have to make a few circles, and therefore we need to discuss our topic for today. This is the secondary creation. Of course, we can understand the secondary creation only in the light of the primary creation. Without the first, there is no second. So first, we must have the first creation. This is what we mentioned last time. And nevertheless, we have to return to this original creation first. So what is the difference between the primary and the secondary creation? We can say that the primary creation provides the grand picture, like creates all the facilities and all the necessary ingredients for a detailed creation, which is accomplished in the second phase. So the secondary creation will use all the material, all the information, and all that is provided in the primary stage in order to arrange life, in order to arrange the creation according to the traditional manner. So what happened in the primary creation? In the primary creation, we understood that from Mahavishnu, all the necessary ingredients for creation were emanated. The background is there for the creation, for the manifestation. And the cosmic principles are there to be distributed, to make it functional. You know, because if a principle without the function is not enough. So in the primary creation, after it is accomplished, everything is ready to make it functional. So what are the elements there? One is Purush, the soul or the spirit, we can say, and the other is the Prakriti, the female principle, which is like a womb of the creation. And certain other elements are added, and this balance, this original balance is somehow agitated a little bit, and then this activity will start. So the first manifestation after Purush and Prakriti, the male and the female principles, the first Tattva, the first truth that is manifested, this is the Buddhi Tattva or the Mahat Tattva. Two names are provided. And this is like all possible stage of the creation. Everything is there and everything is possible, but it's latent, it's not manifest yet. And why there is the two words, two expressions. One is the Buddhi Tattva, because that shows that this original principle, original start of the creation is a conscious principle. It's not by chance. It is well thought, and then later on it will be well arranged. So this conscious principle is there waiting to manifest. So therefore this Buddhi Tattva, like the supreme intelligence, is waiting to show everything that will come later. And the other name for this origin is the Mahat Tattva. From that point of view, Mahat is all the material ingredients of the creation in totality. So it's very strange that from two sides we can understand this source. One is the conscious side, and the other is like the material side. So in both ways, in spirit and matter, in the bodily potential and the conscious potential, everything is ready to manifest all the future varieties of the creation. And then if the gunas are added to this original chance, so either to Buddhi, the consciousness, or to Mahat, or the matter, so to say, then the more detailed structure of the universe will come. One very basic principle that will be manifested in the next stage, this is the Ahankar. Ahankar is the ego principle, or the false identification, limited identification, when the future jivas they make a mistake or forgetting about their belonging to God Supreme, and they will identify themselves in the first sense with some principles, with some theories, with some consciousness. So the first mistake that is happening in the creation, this is the false identification. And then from this ahamkar, everything else will come in a more condensed, in a more material type of way, because these are very subtle platforms of the creation, these original stages, and later on it will be more condensed. And finally, in the sequential manifestation, we shall come to matter that you can touch, that you can see. So what is the sequence here? Spirit is the first, or consciousness is of prime importance. And what is next? The next is that slowly, gradually, even the material circumstances will manifest, including the senses of the beings, including the sense objects, including the material side of the creation, etc. And what is important here, that the cosmic principles, like cosmic ego or cosmic mind, is distributed to the future beings. This is something very important for us, because it's not that that only one side exists, that only the cosmic principle is there and the individual principle is non-existent. No, both sides are there. And the universal consciousness is somehow shared and distributed on the individual platform as well. Of course, it doesn't mean that the Supreme Consciousness will lose its identity, just to show the parallel between the cosmic platform and the individual platform. This will be very important for us. So buddhi, or cosmic consciousness, or ego, the ahamkar, also as a principle is there in the creation, and also it is there for the individuals. So the principle and the individual platform is there. We can conclude that the cosmic principles are broken down to the individual level. Why is it important? Because if somehow we share, we receive something from this divine cosmic totality of consciousness, that means we can connect back to that reality. So if you want to understand better what is the purpose of life, what is the secret of the creation, how to come closer to God, here is the way. You receive something from the common source of consciousness, and through this channel you can come back to a much higher, much broader field of divine consciousness. So the part and the source, they belong to each other. The consequence, the individual conscious entity, and the origin, the source, the supreme, they belong together. It's very important. Therefore, we have a chance to establish and re-establish our connection. So the cosmic principles are broken down to the individuals, and we share something common. So that much about the primary creation, because this is accomplished by Vishnu. He emanates the energies, and by the vision, he will impregnate the material nature with the souls. So God is not limited. He can do whatever he likes, and Vishnu can impregnate with the vision. It's so powerful. His presence is so powerful that there are no limitations for him. We are limited, but he is not. It's a big difference. So the primary creation is accomplished by Lord Vishnu, and who is doing the secondary creation? The secondary creation is accomplished by Brahma. And the secondary creation means that on this vast expansion of divine energy, one unit is taken, and then the second Vishnu form enters this unit, this cosmic unit or universe, and then there the life of Brahma starts. So therefore we call Brahma a secondary creator who will arrange the provided matter, the provided facilities. He will arrange into a cosmos. From the chaos or the all possible stage of creation, he will create a cosmos, an arranged system. Therefore, Brahma is the supreme intellect in a universe, because he should know everything, how to make it, how to accomplish. So the secondary creation is accomplished by Brahma. And what is the purpose here? What is the symbology here? If one such cosmic unit is created, it needs to be populated, right? If it is empty, if it is vacant, then it's got no purpose. Just like in our small little life, if you have a house that's empty, you need someone to share that house. You need to populate that house. Then it will turn into a home. I think you understand the difference between a house and a home. A house is simply the stones and the walls, and the home is the warmth. Home means life. So therefore, on the cosmic platform, it's the same. If all the facilities are provided, that's the house. There's the external elements. We need to populate that universe. I mean, not we, but Supreme Lord need to populate that universe in order to make it alive, to bring life in that universe. That will make it, turn it into a home. A big difference. And a home is a favorable environment. Home is not dangerous. What is the danger of material existence? This is the illusion. But if we see that everything is provided for one ultimate goal, and this is to return back home, back to Godhead, then there is no fear. Then there is no danger. In a home, there is no danger. So how it will be populated? If there is a universe, it must be populated. Brahma is alone. And how he will multiply? There are different ways of multiplication. First, he multiplies by the thought. His thought, his meditation, his willpower is so powerful that simply by thinking, he will create some offsprings. There's something extraordinary, not very much happening in our case, in daily life, but sometimes it also happens. For example, people can create By the thought, they can create their own demons, their own enemies, right? They have a wrong pattern of thinking, and they will create a hellish world for themselves. So we have to be very careful about our powerful thoughts. But in the beginning, Brahma created his sons, primarily his sons, due to the force of his willpower, due to the force of his thought. Narada, the Kumaras, the first rishis were created in this manner. So that means this first generation of offsprings was purely mental or conscious entities. They were not bound by the bodily necessities. The other way of multiplication, which Brahma also provided, this is by the general way how the universe is arranged. This is like a sexual multiplication, and the Manus he projected from himself, and then they started to multiply in that sense. And just recently there was a question: if there is only the first Manus at the beginning, and his wife as the first male and female, and then how is this multiplication going on? Because there must be some problems there, because to have a relationship with your close family members, it's not very much suggested later on. But here we can also see what is possible for the great ones who can overcome some difficulties due to, bodily genetics. If they're more on the spiritual side, spiritual genetics, this is not a problem. So incest is not there on the very beginning of the creation. Later on, later generations, of course, they have to pay attention on these relationships. But originally, at the beginning, the ratio between the body and the mind or spirit, or the ratio between the bodily genetics and the spiritual power was different, and therefore it was not a problem. So this is another way of multiplication. Generally, in the created world, in the populated world, the beings are multiplied by the sexual way, but there are other methods, like this, what I mentioned, by the thought, by the willpower. And also we can say that by preaching, you can also multiply the number of the devotees. So preaching is also a kind of parent's job. You have to raise your kids in a proper manner, and you have to raise your spiritual kids also in a proper manner. So you see, the function is very similar. There are different ways to accomplish, but the function is very similar. So Brahma was sitting alone on this cosmic lotus, and he was perplexed. He didn't understand three things. He didn't really understand himself. He didn't understand the source of the lotus, and he didn't understand the world around. So three kind of ignorance, three kind of lack of information was there at the beginning. In this one cosmic unit, in the secondary creation, everything was provided, yet something was missing. The knowledge was missing. Brahma didn't know what to do. he started to search. He was trying to reach the bottom of the cosmic lotus flower. He was climbing down, 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 but didn't find the source, the roots. So then again he came up, climbed back to the whirl of the flower, and then he started to sit and think, or practically meditate. And this was the way of his enlightenment, so to say, because then he received the first mantra, tapaha, do some penance. This was the first thing that he heard. So what is the first word in the creation? Tapaha, austerity. And do you think that this world, this universe, this life is for enjoyment? I think we are mistaken if we think like this. If the first instruction in this universal unit, in this cosmic unit was tapaha, do some penance, then don't be surprised if life will provide a good chance for us to practice tapas. So then Brahma came to that realized platform where he understood the three things that he didn't understand at the beginning. He understood the word. He understood also the root of the lotus, and also he understood about himself. And Brahma's example, I think it's very instructive, because we all need more understanding. We all need that activating knowledge that will make our life complete. Because practically all human beings have a lot of assets. Everything is provided to accomplish our journey. But how to do this? This is what we don't know at the beginning. How to accomplish our journey, how to use everything that is provided in this life for us for the best purpose. So that we have to understand, that we have to receive from inspiration. And that happened to Brahma. He started to meditate and he received through the heart, he received that divine instruction by which he could accomplish his duty, his desire to create. In the Brahma Samhita, it is mentioned that from Govinda, Brahma has received this inspiration, this knowledge, the know-how of creation. So the hardware was present, but the software, the know-how was missing at the beginning. And this is what Brahma understood through his meditation. So in order to accomplish our journey in life, I think certain intelligence is necessary. And as soon as Brahma had these realizations, he understood the world around and he understood himself as well. He noticed something. He noticed something, how the future world will function, how it will happen. So at the very beginning, he already knew how it will happen. And let me quote one verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam, because it describes what was the realization of Brahma, what's going to happen in the creation. So Brahma, after his enlightenment, prays to the Lord, to our Lord. And he says, "Oh, my dear Lord, you are the greatest actor, but those very unfortunate created beings, they are always tortured by thirst, by hunger, by cold weather and hot, and also by bodily disease, winter and very dry summer. So many difficulties they have to face. Also, they have strong impetus in love, in desires, in anger. So they are like victims, all these influences over them. And then I understood, because usually people, we complain about these things. Oh, it's too hot, it's too cold, I have this problem, I have that problem. And to tell you the truth, I thought that this is something recent. But from this verse, I understood it's part of the material creation. From the very beginning, it's happening like this. So therefore, we have to decide whether we want to live according to the principles of material existence, which is full of all these troubles and sufferings and limitations and complaints, or you want to live a divine life, which is not a complaint, but it's a compliment. It's a big difference. So please decide more and more on the spiritual side. So this is the solution. I mean, this is the situation in this created universe. Problems all over and complaints all over. So don't live according to a general normal way of life. Upgrade your consciousness. So this happened when Brahma had this vision, had this darshan of the Supreme. Then his consciousness became clear. He understood everything. Although just imagine yourself to create a world, a universe, to arrange everything in a universe, it's quite complicated. It's a big job. We can hardly manage our own small little life, right? What to speak of a universe? So it's a big, big job. But after he had this darshan, everything was clear for him. Same for us. If we have a darshan, then you will be able to manage your life. You will be able to realize what is necessary, and you will be able to overcome all these different troubles and limitations that were mentioned. And let me return to this question of the secondary creation. So how to populate a universe. The different grades of living entities were manifesting slowly, slowly. Animals, then plants, they are all positioned on the different bodily parts of the cosmic Purusha, the Virat Rupa, like the different parts of the universe is also distributed there, and the living entities. And then after all these different creatures were there, then came the role of the humans. And as we agreed last time that humans are the shelter of the Virat Purusha. So in one sense, the dwelling place of divinity is the human being. It's a very glorious birth. We have to provide or take advantage of the best use, make the best use of this very glorious birth and live for the glory of the Supreme. This is the ultimate purpose of this human life. And then it will be not a complaint, but a compliment. So make that change. And basically the two main branches of beings, like the devas, the demigods, and the asuras, they come from the same father. This is something very important to remember. They come from the same father, but they come from a different mother. So, as I told at the beginning, that the cosmic affair, the history of the world, is a conflict between the dark and the bright forces. Nevertheless, they are very close to each other. Devas and asuras, they are like half brothers. Father is the same, mother is different. And therefore it is said that the mentality of the child is provided by the mother. The mentality is provided by the mother. So please, mothers, listen. You have to improve your mentality so much, because what you have, you can give to your sons and daughters. So improve yourself, because then what we provide, what you provide to the next generation, this is not only bodily genetics, but it's spiritual genetics. This is what we have to give, a spiritual genetics, a spiritual inheritance. What will remain after you? Some papers, some documents, some stones, or some spiritual essence? This is the question. And this is the way how we should collect our treasures. Yes, this is how we should find our treasures. But as even the most opposing powers in this created universe, somehow they relate to each other, they belong to each other. Therefore, we can also say that ultimately all life belongs to the divine source. Everybody is part of the divine creation. We all belong to the spiritual sky, not to matter, not to illusion. And this unites all the living entities. In one sense, we are all brothers and sisters. We are all members of the same family. And you know, in a family, you have very good relationships, and sometimes you have far relations, far relatives whom you don't meet for some time. But if you meet, then you are happy about them. This should be our approach to the living entities. Because if this world is created in a very consistent manner, as I told, everything was provided, and then the necessary information, the necessary understanding also came to Brahma, how to arrange it properly. If it is arranged in such a manner, then there is a harmony behind, there's a unity behind, there's peace behind. Even in the conflicts, you have to be able to see the peace, the order. Beyond the disorder, please try to see the order. And it's a necessary part. The trouble is a necessary part of the material existence. It's not against you. It's for us to overcome and to sharpen our spiritual vision. So never give up the good spirit. And also, if we torture others, actually we torture ourselves. If we belong together, what you give to others, actually this is what you give to yourself. So please be a more nice, be a better person. That's the first step in spirituality. Be a better person. Krishna says in the Bhagavatam that those who worship me in the temple and bow down in front of my deity form, but they are not respectful for the other living beings, it is just like throwing their offerings in the extinguished fire of the sacrifice. Useless. useless. So how can we worship the Supreme without respecting his beloved ones? This is the principle that we have learned from our masters, that if you want to make the master happy, serve those who are dear to the master. So if you want to make Krishna happy, satisfied, serve those who are dear to him. Therefore, those who belong to Krishna, those who are dear to Krishna, they are our main object of service. This is the way to satisfy the Supreme Lord, the Creator, so to say. This is the way. So treat others nicely, treat yourself also nicely, see the spirit, see the soul in others. Realize first your Atman, your Atma Tattva, and then you can see the Atman in others. And then divine love or bhakti or prem will have a different meaning. Until we don't put it into practice, it's only a theory. So this is the way to make prem functional. This is the way to accomplish our journey. We start from basic information concerning the primary and the secondary creation, but this is not the end of our journey. This is only the beginning. And actually, just to cut it short, there is only one question to decide. Only one question to decide: whether you want to become a person who respects, who pays respect to the truth, or you want to become an ecstatic lover of God. This is the only thing we have to decide: to pay respect to the truth or to love God. I think in your case, this question is already answered. You all have answered this question by committing yourself to the practice, by chanting the holy names, by serving our spiritual masters, by cherishing this super nice ideas of a loving connection between the soul and the divine couple. It's so beautiful, so charming, that it's way beyond simple tattva or simple truths or simple questions of creation. Whatever has been created will be demolished. If you start something, you have to accomplish that. Let's start our spiritual journey, which is a never-ending journey, and let's find our way back home, back to Godhead. This is the purpose of the primary and the secondary creation as well. So finally, I have to express my gratitude for all you to pay attention and to help me to remember something that I have learned from my masters. And please go on with your spiritual services. Be blessed, and hope to see you very soon. Srila Gurudeva ki jai, Sri Guru Varga ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai,
Jai,
Sri Siddhanta ki jai,
Jai,
Samveta ki jai,
Jai,
Harinama Yajna ki jai, Gauranga
Jai.
Premananda
Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Hare Bo.
Gurudeva ki Jai.
Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.
Jai.
Leo Avatar Prabhu Hare Bo. Good to see you.
Everybody is so nice. Jai.
Can we stop the live on Facebook?